So, hey friends, welcome back to Sisters Let's Talk podcast. The place where faith, real life, and honest conversations actually happen. So, today we're diving into something that seriously we all struggle with. Um, Sometimes we don't admit it, which I think is the first part of why it is so important: instant gratification. We live in a world where promises of happiness and 2 day shipping is the thing. One click purchase is what we all
Prime
need.
shipping. Prime shipping the next day.
15 seconds videos, that's all our life. I think we've even gone down to 7 right now, is all that our brains can even handle. But here's the truth. Studies have showed that the more we chase quick results, the more stressed and burnt out we actually feel. So, the big question today that we hope we can answer, and our guest is really here to help us answer that, is the need for instant gratification still in our peace, our relationships, maybe even our purpose? Is it, or maybe you have something else? But as we talk about this, I want you to keep that question at the back of your mind, or maybe at the front, maybe in the middle, somewhere. Can faith and instant gratification actually exist? Can they coexist? Or are they pulling us apart to two different directions? So,
You have a sister friend who you can talk to about your imperfections, vulnerabilities, uncensored truths, journeys, and victories. Welcome to the lounge.
I am really, really looking forward to this conversation, and I know our guest is looking forward to it too. So, um, welcome. Welcome to the podcast, and I hope that this deep conversation will bring us to that point where we can actually ask ourselves the question and actually give ourselves an honest, authentic answer. So, welcome to the Sisters Let's Talk podcast.
Thank you.
Welcome, welcome, welcome. We have to do a drum roll for this one, and there'll be after sounds because this particular guest speaker we've been chasing forever, and
She
we have been
finally
graced.
made it. Yes.
We have been graced with her presence. Okay, so on the show today, we have Bimpe, who happens to be a lady with many hats on. So she is a nurse by profession, and she is a woman of faith, and she likes to keep it real. And she says that she likes to stand firm in who she's becoming. I like that. It didn't say
Yeah.
become. It's becoming, because it's a progress, right? She believes in healing, honesty, and keeping negativity far from her space. And every day she chooses purpose over pressure and grace over noise.
Yes.
Life's a journey, and I'm here just evolving one lesson at a time. I think just her introduction alone, um, and with our topic, she says life's a journey. Really, a journey? We're talking about instant gratification here. We want it now. What journey? Ain't nobody ready to go on a journey. But welcome, Bimpe. And I must add, aside from being a nurse by profession, she's also a business entrepreneur that's running successful businesses. So we'll talk about those businesses a little later. But she has a fashion enterprise, and she also has based with her profession, a home healthcare business that she's running. So we will talk about those as well. So welcome, Bimpe, to the Sisters Let's Talk podcast lounge.
Thank you, ladies, for having me. I'm going to try my best.
Oh, well, no, you'll do well. You'll exceed.
She's
So,
already on the journey, so
I
she
know, right?
already
You
got
just
the experience. This is why we have you.
so I know we do like to start with with a we call it an icebreaker on the show, and sometimes the questions actually really do pop up on my head. So I do that so it don't, like I don't have a time to think about it as much, so that we all like on the same level. So we're talking about instant gratification. Can we think of a time when that is all we really wanted and that is what we got, and how was the experience? Instant
Hmm.
gratification.
Who goes first?
Lucia, you go first. You're on the
Ah,
screen.
bad business.
Instant
Though,
gratification. You got it, and what was the feedback?
well, actually, this just happened yesterday, and the ones that always come to mind really are usually the ones that have some detrimental or negative effect because it leaves an impression. But this was quite very simple. Yesterday we were at an outing, we were on the beach, and someone was responsible to bring the ice cream. Now it's a very hot day, it takes a few hours to get there, and so I was like, this ice cream is gonna melt. But regardless, we all wanted ice cream. So we were there, we had set up, and now we want this ice cream. Ran around and I'm like, I want this ice cream. I've been wanting ice cream. It was already melted, but I still had it. She put it in the cone, it was already running down, and I had this runny dairy ice cream. What happens when that ice cream is running?
Mm, all over you.
Well, yeah, it was it was sticky and all, but that's not the that's if that was it, that would have been okay. But
Mm,
when you have ice cream that's melted um on a hot day and instant gratification, I really enjoyed it because I wanted something sweet, but and then it goes into
you had liquid.
your digestive system. What happens?
and you were on the beach.
I was on the beach.
Okay.
So moving on. That's my instant gratification story. It tastes good. I was satisfied. It was cold. And then
Mm,
But
okay.
are you lactose intolerant though?
so I am a denial that
Oh,
I am.
okay.
So I still go ahead and do that. So I had a lot of popsicles, so a lot of sugar before that ice cream. So
Mm,
yes,
yeah.
that's part of it.
Okay. Well, we're glad we have you here today.
Are you hydrated enough?
I was hydrated enough. I just had too much ice cream because I wanted ice cream. I
There
wanted
you
it.
go. That's a very good
Oh,
story. Yep. So, Bimpe, what's yours?
um, for me, like what I used to do as a nurse, like you run a home, I'm gonna
Mm-hmm.
go there. And when
Mm-hmm.
you're in nursing and in the healthcare, you're not expecting instant gratification, anyways.
Okay.
Like it is, this is what you sign up for,
Mm-hmm.
and you're expected to do it.
Yeah.
And I know Lucia might be familiar with it, like when inspectors come into your home
Mm-hmm.
to see that you're in compliance and you've worked hard over the years. And
Mm-hmm.
for me, that day when that inspector came in, it was like one of those things where they're very difficult. You can't really please them.
Mm-hmm.
And she said to me, of all the places that I've been,
Mm-hmm.
you have been the best so far. And she said this in front of my GM.
Oh.
And it was a very good feeling. It made me feel like all my hard work really paid off. And I was on a high that day. I was
Mm-hmm.
like, I'm going to receive this. I'm on a high today. So that was my instant gratification.
Oh, that's really good. That is
Yes,
super
actually, you're
good.
good.
That's a good one. Because yeah, those don't come easily.
No.
We always want that, but it doesn't come easily. So yeah,
Yeah.
it is a good one. So I've been thinking, I've been like going around my mind as you guys
I can
talk
see
about
you,
it. Like
she's
what?
actually
Which one?
standing. So you see her pacing. I'm like, she's thinking, and here we are
I'm
trying to
thinking
figure
which
out.
one? No,
Yeah,
and I do this so I
it's
don't
still
like
not
have a
fair.
rehearsed one. But instant gratification, what I'm thinking is, so we just finished like a walk. Like we did a um what was it, 3 million walk that we were steps walk that we were gonna do, or 5 million, yeah. So we're doing it, and so every day I go I do I try to get to the 10,000 steps. Some days I don't. But the thing that I kept looking for was I needed to see myself shrink, and it was not happening. Like I wanted to see the shrinking happen, like people you see on TikTok and Instagram. Well, I'm not a TikTok, but Instagram. Like I feel like, you know how they show you that time lapse.
The
Like
before, and it's usually within less than 30 seconds.
exactly. I wanted to see that, and I did not. I would say some days that was disappointing, but I needed that instant gratification. But there was one day that I put on a pants that had not gone up my thighs for a while. Oh my gosh, that day, if you see me, I wore that pants the whole day, and I felt super good. I felt like I could have done, I'm like, I could have been doing like this before and after time lapse videos just to show. But seriously, that gratified me for that day. If that was, it was not instant. I don't think it was like really instant, but it's like one of those things, like when we exercise, we want to see the difference right away. But I think it was after like 15, 20 days or so that I was able to like pull that pants up, and it felt really good. But yeah, it was little hard not to see the shrinkage like it's shown on Instagram for sure.
Yeah, with
So I do
social
have a
media.
question though.
Mm-hmm.
Since we're talking about this, like we've all given different mine is so simple,
Mm-hmm.
and we have things that people can relate to.
Mm-hmm.
How in the world did we get here that we all at some degree on something have that expectation? um to simply put it, that this can happen now. And not to say that we all expect things, there are realistic things. Some people, everyone's perspective is different. But how did we get here? Because what is instant gratification? Is getting that pleasure, experiencing that pleasure in whatever form or satisfaction immediately,
Mm-hmm.
right? Without there any delay. And that could be a day, that could be an hour, that could be a minute. Um, but how did we get here where it's like there's so much, we're expecting things to happen faster now than probably way back when?
Because I think we're in a fast-paced society right now. Social media is not helping. They're unrealistic goals, and we feel that we need to rush to get to what we want to get to. So
Like that
that's what I
YouTube video for Bimpe. I mean for Fumi the
right,
shrinking.
right, right,
Yes, because
I
it's
I
like
needed it.
right.
Yep. Because so, but how like I know Lucia defined instant gratification, right? But even in like in our families, in the kids, in it feels like everywhere we turn around, we do see it. There's studies and everything that shows that we want things now.
in
But there's
businesses.
some, but yeah, but there are plays like so I'm gonna be the I don't like saying devil's advocate, but what is wrong with having things now?
Hmm.
What is wrong with I want God says he will provide all my needs according to his riches in glory, right? God says whatever I ask in his name I will receive. He didn't say there was a timeline that I have to wait for it. When Jesus told the people to like
You shall the blind shall see, and they
see,
saw.
they saw. There was no going and come back tomorrow to have it. So, what is wrong with us having the things we want now?
I think we gotta be realistic. There are things that we can have immediately with immediate results. There are things that
Mm,
we're not gonna have immediately. We gotta work towards them,
mm-hmm,
right? And in terms of faith, saying your eyes are open and the eyes are
mm-hmm,
open. Yes, God is capable of doing instant miracles, but He's
mm-hmm.
also slow and strategic at some point. Because He says, "My plans towards you are not of good, are not of evil, but of good, to bring you to an expected end." It also
Okay.
means it cannot be immediate. It
Mm-hmm.
might take time to get you to that expected end.
But I'm expecting that expected end now.
Yeah, like I've been expecting it. So why is it really why are other people's expectations met and mine seems like it's taking forever?
We're all different
I'm
individuals.
working, I'm working towards it.
Mhm.
I'm doing the things that I know to do. I've prayed, I've fasted,
She's
I've
walked.
I've walked.
She's walked the walk.
I have said all the right things. I say my affirmations every day, most days.
She's
Like
met the dietitian.
I've met the dietitian. So I really I am supposed to have it, right? I'm supposed to have it, and if everybody else is doing this time lapse thing, why not me? So is there a certain set of people that you will say they have the thing, they have what it takes? So what are those things that make it feel like they have it, they can get it? Why?
So what makes you think that they got it right away?
Good question. Nothing. I just want it right away.
Well, you just made a comparison to other people getting what they want right
Mm-hmm.
away. But what makes you think they got it right away? For example, your video, I'll
Yeah.
go back to that video, which
Uh-huh.
was a 30-second video.
Yeah.
She might have worked for like 30 days, right?
Correct. Mm-hmm.
And then she puts in what she was before and what
Mm-hmm.
she is 30 days later within 30 seconds.
Correct.
So she's creating a hype and you're not being realistic about it.
But then again, if I'm being on what Fumi's saying, but then again, you also have where the circumstances are about the same. So we've given, it doesn't have to be weight, it could be anything. We've given the same amount of time duration that this person spent, right? The same amount of food,
Mm-hmm.
but one has one outcome that's different from another. Or they prayed the same amount of prayer, they're attending the same cell, they're going over the same scripture, or they started similar businesses. They may not know each other, but I'm just saying you have this business here, you have this business, and they're about the same. So how is it that one has an expect or quote unquote the expected outcome that we think
Mm-hmm.
they should have, and the other person doesn't?
What steps did the other person take that made them become successful? What step did you take for you not to get to where you are not at currently?
But we can argue that there are times there they are taking the same steps, but the outcome still is not the same. So
I would,
is it, yeah, go ahead for
Mm-hmm.
me.
I, okay, go ahead.
No, I think that brings us to a next point. That I think can play into that. How much do you believe that what you actually want is going to happen to you, right? How much do you believe that the thing that I say I want is actually going to happen to me when I expect it to happen, right? Because I am looking at it again. Yes, there are things that are really unrealistic that some of us really want, but how much do we
Such
believe?
as,
Like I want to lose weight in 30 days, right? There are people that have lost weight in 30 days. Whatever they did, maybe if I did exactly what they did, I would have a little bit of it. But how much do I believe that what I'm doing is actually going to happen to me? How much do I believe that the business that I'm investing in is going to not fail? It's going to be the thing that is going to happen. So there's statistics that half of the businesses that are there don't are not they don't go past 5 years, and a lot of them that has to do with overestimating growth or underestimating how tough it will be, right? So my question for Bimpe is, um, in your line of business, I'm going to shift it a little bit. In your business, so like what you did for it to be something that became realistic, especially in this world now that we want things fast. What did you do for you to even get there, for you to even be a thing that you can actually tangibly talk about, experience, and other people experience that growth, that um, your expertise, your time, and whatever they're experiencing from your business right now? What did you do?
Well, I'm gonna say it's not always going to like be dandy. You have to be realistic that stagnate, you got to understand that stagnation doesn't mean that you're not growing.
Mm,
It's going to be slow at some times, and you have to learn to accept what's going on during that slow process. Be consistent, be disciplined, don't quit. I feel
mm,
like a lot of people quit. They give themselves, oh, 6 months. If I don't make this, I'm gonna go into the next thing. And
okay.
then you keep hustling, and your hustle becomes scattered. You
Mm.
just you're pivoting around without no purpose. So if you get into a
So
business,
pimping your hustle, basically.
exactly right, with no purpose. So basically, for you to be successful, you gotta know that there are days that it's going to be slow. You're not gonna hear zero, no sales, nothing. That doesn't mean you stop, right?
Mm.
You also have to you also have to learn that you're building a legacy for generational wealth. It's likes. I feel like the generation now is likes over legacy, right?
Okay.
So I feel that you have to know that you're working towards something bigger than just like something. You have to have a long-term vision.
Mm.
You
So
have to
how did you keep that vision in front of you? Like, let's say
not
your home health business. How did you keep that vision in front of you?
not stopping, not giving up, keep pushing. No matter what, no matter how many doors get slammed in your face, you keep pushing. You do not stop. You don't let that get you down. You rise above it and you just keep moving. Yeah.
To be fair to the generation now, I think part of it is the things that people were aspiring towards. Not that there's nothing to aspire to anymore, but
Mm.
what people were aspiring towards, it's been done.
Like what?
Like it could be something as simple as in terms of invention, or there is a fashion business. There's so
Mm-hmm.
many fashion businesses that you can now look at and then tailor to what you want. Whereas before, again, not to say you can't come up with something unique, creative, and that has never been done before,
Okay.
but now it's you may not be starting from scratch. So it almost makes you, I don't know if lazy is the word, but complacent sometimes, that because they have so many options, they're like, I could go start something else. I mean, whereas before, number one, this is you don't necessarily have many options. So you keep on trying and keep on trying. Number
Mm.
two, for example, electricity, or like the car, the Ford. And when he started, like there weren't cars around, and he has this dream and he has envisioned it, and he wants this to happen. So he failed so many times, he kept on trying. Now it's not necessarily they're gonna start up a new car. They might try to change some things about the car, but if it doesn't work, I could go try something else. Maybe I was working for BM. Now I could go work for Ford. Maybe they'll accept my idea. Like, there are so many things there now that the options for you to just quit it's easier to quit because there's something else you can go to.
I can know.
I see what you're saying, but if you keep quitting, are you meeting your goals business wise? Because you leave something, you're on to the next. That doesn't work, you're on to the next. Are you really building, or are you just going around in circles?
What is building? There's people who they started just doing silly videos on TikTok, and within a week they are instant millionaires and have a million viewers. And you want me to go, and generally speaking, to just keep going, and just, it's slow, and maybe I could try this and that, where I could just go and do what that person's doing. I mean, the goal,
Um,
the goal is to make money for some
so
people.
so being a TikToker, you can have a million views today, but guess what? You gotta be creative. You gotta work hard to come up with something else to keep making that money.
Well, that's why some people keep going and going and doing things, and then they have to do something more creative, and maybe it becomes something dangerous, so they keep pushing the envelope so they could get there. But I mean, that's simply simple things like a video for TikTok. But then when you come
Mhm.
to something serious like a business, or something serious like you are like a marriage, or a relationship, or not even just a couple marriage relationship, but just a friendship relationship. Oh, please, I could move on. Why do I have to work at this? I could find another friend.
I guess our values have changed over the years. Visible success is a thing, right? And I feel like Fumi said earlier on, most businesses crash like within like 5 years.
Mhm.
Why? Why? Because we're trying to make that fast money. We're not learning. We're not improving. We're not evolving. That's a problem.
We're not evolving.
We're not evolving, like in the sense as to I look at evolving as you learn and you grow. But I feel like if I make $1 million here and then come next year, my revenue is really, really low, I give up. I'm like, okay, let me go on to the next thing to see if I can make it there. Where in life in general, you have highs and lows. Life is not constant, it's going to be a change. Are we adapting to the change, or are we just running to the next big thing?
I think that's what it is we are evolving because you can evolve whether it's a positive towards something positive or negative, but evolution is a journey. No matter how fast things are, evolution remains a journey. And the only way you can find out is in retrospect. It literally is. No matter what, no matter how fast technology is, the only way you can find out is in retrospect. But we all want that
That's
retrospect
true.
to be but retrospect doesn't change.
So I have I'll pivot a little bit. So I feel like the reason why we're so craving that instant gratification and try to evolve as fast as we can is because we're all looking for that high, and most of us define it as happiness. I want to be happy. I want to be able to laugh. I want to be able to be comfortable. I want to be able to be happy. So, what does real happiness look like to us since we're the panel right now? What does real happiness look like? And how do we see people defining happiness in this I want it now and I deserve happiness. I should feel happy. Why not me feeling happy? What does happiness really look like?
I
We'll
feel
start with our
happiness.
expert. Yeah.
Who's the expert?
You.
No, I'm not. I feel like happiness is individual. Your perception of happiness, Lucy's perception of happiness, my perception of happiness, it's going to be completely different. For me, it is peace.
Okay.
And the things about having money, being successful, those are things that are no brainers in life. You have to be successful. You got to work hard. You got to put in the work
Mm-hmm.
and all that stuff. But
Yeah.
for me, at this point in my life, and I feel like happiness changes, even though um, we may have a perception, but as you keep evolving, your definition of happiness changes.
Evolves.
For
Yep.
Yeah.
it evolves, and for me currently, it is my peace of mind. If you are
Mm-hmm.
negative, don't be around me. I'll shut you down. Do
Mm-hmm.
not disrupt my peace. That's happiness for me right now.
Lucia, how will you define happiness?
Um, hmm. I think, well, I totally agree with Bimpe. Happiness evolves.
Mm-hmm.
We happiness is not an instant gratification. It evolves.
Yeah.
So as my perspective changes in life, it will change. And happiness for me, well, is two things. It's peace within and peace without. So peace on the inside, peace on the outside. So that means at this point in time in my life, yes, I want peace. My own peace. I work on my peace, peace around me as well.
Mm-hmm.
Because at some point it was my peace. Now it's not just about my peace. So I think that's happiness. The only thing is when you look at that, you always have to be able to balance it.
Yeah.
So balancing basically at the end of the day is happiness.
So when you say balance, what are you balancing?
Um, Being aware of the peace within and the peace without, and
Okay.
balancing it in the sense that the equilibrium will not change no matter what happens around you or within you. So
Okay.
maintaining that equilibrium.
So I got this thing that says the World Happiness Report. Did you ever know that was a thing?
Yeah.
The world
No.
the World Happiness Report found that people who value relationships and purpose over money are 25% happier long time. Um, and as I have evolved, I feel like that is way truer in thinking about the things that I truly will identify as this made me really happy. It's when I'm doing that thing that I feel like it's purposeful. It's like somebody else is benefiting from this thing, or I feel like I've given out of some part of me that is very treasure, like has treasure in it. um that makes me happy. That makes me feel so much more fulfilled, and I can look back on that time and say, yeah, that is a good feeling. Like even if it doesn't make me laugh, even if it was hard work. So I'll take it um like when I cook a meal for my family. I like cooking. Cooking makes me happy. But when I cook and they eat it and enjoy it, and like they can, like my son will say like, "Mom, this is good," for like 5 times before he finish eating it. Or when I like when my husband say, "Oh, this is so good." Um, that's because especially when those times it's not like, okay, you all need to eat, I'm putting something on the table. It's like I really changed something or did something different, right? That gives me a good sense of like I'm serving, I'm giving something out of what I have, what I know. That
So on
makes me
the day
happy.
that no one says the food is good, are you not happy? Does that affect your quote unquote happiness? Or are
No,
we talking
I
about
can,
instant gratification here?
well, you can call it instant gratification, but it is significantly pointed out. Like I can identify that moment as the feeling. It's not like I don't know they appreciate when I cook, but the fact that they can say it and they say it in a way that I can see that they appreciated it is different. So like what Bimpe mentioned, when that person, like she knows she has done the work, right? But when that person actually tells her that, yep, this is good, and she could have just ended that this is good. But when she went on and mentioned, like, for the people that I have examined or did the examination in, you actually did the work and you did it well. I see it. I think that that is part of that when you've been seen and it is acknowledged that you've been seen. I feel like that ties in with the purpose that you gave out of, like your hard work came out because this is what I was working on, and it shows.
So happiness is small amounts of instant gratification that comes in, is a deposit of instant gratifications that come in and build up into happiness. Because what if in a month no one says your food is good? You're not happy for a month? I'm not saying you.
No, I'm just
I'm
saying
just
like that
saying
I was giving a specific example, just a specific example of that
what makes.
moment, that particular moment or that particular thing that made me feel happy. But that was just an example of pointing out that when you do something out of purpose, when you do something out of giving out of yourself, for me, that brings me happy. It can be for me when I finish doing a wedding, right? I worked myself hard. The person actually got what they paid for. That gratifies me. When I go to work and I actually delivered what I was hired to deliver, that I don't need to laugh and whatever, but I gave out of what I said I was going to do. Or when I
Mhm.
make my husband laugh or something like that, that gets out of something I worked on, out of purpose. I did it purposefully, and that makes me happy.
So is instant so happiness is a feeling,
Yes.
happiness is an experience.
Mm-hmm.
So happiness equals to instant gratification. Okay, happiness equals to
No,
gratification, and then you have instant gratification and delayed gratification.
correct. I will say that.
So
I don't think
instant
it.
plus delay equals
Mhm.
to happiness.
No, it can be.
because because I don't know if you're getting. I'm not disputing what you're
No,
saying,
no,
but
I
on
know.
the
But
other side, other
happiness
end.
can. Mm-hmm. Happiness has to like all of you define what happiness is. It's your peace.
Mhm.
It's what you.
Well, it could be your peace. For
Yes.
some people, it's
For
peace.
some, yeah. So I'm just saying, I get my one way I feel happy is when I serve out of purpose. One way I feel that happiness. Happiness is a feeling. It's something you feel. You feel fulfilled, happy. You feel, I don't know how to describe it. I don't know if you can put words to it.
So it
So
is.
my
It's
question,
correct.
hold
It's
on.
a feeling. So
It is
are
a
I
we
have a
feeling.
now
question.
depending on the feeling? Because if we're depending on the feeling, now when you bring it into context of whether it's culture, let's go culture actually. Let's go into a cultural context. Um, some people don't feel happy, but if you ask them, they'll probably tell you, I'm at peace. I feel peaceful, but they might not be always feeling happy. So are we
And
waiting for that gratification?
I don't think so. Bimpe, you had a question. I'll let you ask your question before we move forward.
So my question to you is,
Mm-hmm.
w- you define happiness as when you're doing something out of purpose, right? For
Mm-hmm.
example.
Mm-hmm.
So my question to you is, if you cook and everything and nobody says thank you, but you
Mm-hmm.
did that cooking out of purpose because it's making you happy,
Mm-hmm.
would you still be happy without anybody at the table saying, "Oh, I like this. This tastes good." No comments, no feedback. Would you still be happy?
I believe I will be happy, but the fact that they said it elevates that feeling.
Makes you happier.
Yeah. Okay.
It elevates that feeling. I'm already started like every time I cook, I've I enjoy I enjoy the process, and what puts the crown on it, like I played it in a way that I feel like I'm a top chef, 5 star, whatever that is. So I gratify myself even before anybody does it. I take pictures, I make it as if like I do a whole thing, and I do it almost every day. So yes, the feedback is good, right? But again, if we chase that feeling of somebody has to tell you every time for you to feel happy, that is not sustainable. So when I
Yeah.
was saying in my definition of what real happiness looks like, that is just one example. It's not what I crave after. It is the fact that I did that out of me giving a part of myself, right? And somebody able to recognize it, and that gives me that feeling of happiness. I do feel happy in other areas of my life, for sure, but that is just one example out of doing something out of purpose. So, yes, they don't do it all the time, but I have already looked at myself and say, "Damn, girl, you're a good cook." And that helps. I wouldn't tie um happiness to instant gratification, or um we all make a deposit and we want something back from it in everything we do in life, whether we say it or not. We want something. Is I for me, I just feel like it's the timing. So Bimpe, what do you say about that? Will it you
First of all, I always say this in a relationship, regardless that we're a team, we're one. My partner is not 100% responsible for my happiness.
mm-hmm,
I am not responsible 100% for their happiness. We need to get that clear. But being a team, we need to, like you say, we need to point to the relationship, right? I always say this, I'm matching energy, right? We have to
mm,
match each other's energy. Like it's watering, it's sowing, it's growing, it's the Bible says the two become one.
mm,
So there are things that we need to do to help our relationship grow, help us be in harmony. Even when there are disagreements, right?
mm,
We have to know how to work a disagreement as being a team so that we don't go to bed angry. We're individuals, we're going to have a disagreement, but we have to come together to meet each other halfway and be
mm.
happy in our relationship. That's how I see it.
That's that's it. So question.
Mhm.
This one I've been really looking forward to ask. Faith teaches patience and hope, but we live in a now culture. Actually, this morning my we went into the car and my son is like, "Mom, I don't think now should be in the dictionary because the yeah, serious, I'm not making this up. It's like I don't think now the word now should be in the dictionary because the moment that I say now, now is not now anymore, it's then. This is my 12-year-old.
Your
I,
philosophy 12-year-old.
yes. It's like, well, that's true. It's like because like now it's this very present moment, and the moment I say now, it's gone, it's done. So now should not exist. I'm like, well, I guess we all use it in context of like we're having this conversation, so it's now. We're having this thing, so it's now. It's like, but yeah, technically now it's
Then.
it's then.
Then.
Breaking news happening now.
Now.
Now. It's
But
then.
that but it already broke.
Yes,
We just
It's
now
now
it's just
then.
being reported.
it's then.
It's
So
then. I like that.
I do. Like I just the thinking about it. I was like, yeah, it's then. So with a faith perspective, we all have like now faith is. Now faith is. What should we be mindful of, or do we? Let's say, do we think that faith and instant gratification can work together, or is that what faith really is, or are they totally opposite?
Let there be light, and there was light. Was the light coming? Was it taking 2 days to get there? I'm just saying, since we're in faith. Because I mean this is now how we end up with you go to a church, or and then they, everyone wants that now, because are we not serving a God who says let there be light, and there was light? And so they want the miracle now, and therefore would do anything for that now. Jesus said, let the blind eyes be open. It opened. Now it opened.
Mm-hmm.
So that's instant.
Okay, did it open because they believed that it was gonna open?
So there you go.
I
But
feel
then
like, go ahead.
sometimes though, let there be light. Was there anyone there to believe that we should the light
Well,
coming?
we our ways and the ways of God are not the same. Okay?
So
They-
where did faith originate from?
When God was saying, let there be light, was there anybody there? He was just doing what he needed to do.
So where's this faith thing coming from?
Hmm.
Well, he told us to believe that whatever we say, we will have it. And because he did it, we can do it to an even greater things, right? We can say to this mountain, move, and it will move
John 14. So why isn't it now?
because it's then.
I swear like that.
But I think if we get that thing, there is this book that Andrew Womack wrote. It's called You've Already Got It, right? If we
Because it is
believe,
finished.
yes, if we believe that this mighty things, this money, this thing, this all these things, achievement, success, whatever we define it is as, all these things that should make us the people that we can totally identify ourselves then to be, right?
Mm-hmm.
If we believe that we already got it, that I think that is the verse that this podcast has stood off, right? God has given us everything we need for life and godliness. We already have it. We already have what God has deposited in us. Manifesting it, I think, is where we came up with all these theories and vernaculars and stunts and all these things in life to do
I
it.
like stunts.
But but the moment I feel like we get to that point that the now is already then, right? It doesn't become this big deal of I did not see it, so it did not happen. Or I did not see my delivery at my doorstep when Amazon said it was 2 days, which is really not 2 days, but it is 2 days. That is what they said on the fine print. You did not read all the things that say if there is a delay or weather thing or all those things, it might be 3 days. We did not read all of that, right? The moment you know that that thing not at your doorstep doesn't mean that you don't have it. You already paid for it. It's yours. It's gonna can't get here, right? The moment you know that you already got it, it's already there. It's you have the thing. You are I think that's why I like Bimpe's introduction. Like, this is who I am becoming. You are becoming the thing that you already are. You basically catching up with yourself,
This is your now.
which is then.
Okay, so
But I
oh
think
my.
our definition of now in context has to change.
Yeah.
Our definition, our perspective of now has to change. And definitely, as Bimpe said, as the word says, God's ways are not our ways. Um, and the number of days here and the number of days to God there are two different things. So that now to him is now may not necessarily manifest as now to us, but it is actually in the now. It's already in the now because it is finished. It's just us catching up. As you said, it's the mindset of catching up and understanding. And sometimes that now, in retrospect, you notice, you realize, oh, yeah, that's true. It happened in retrospect. So it did occur in the now, but you are not in our own human, sometimes limited abilities, not able to piece all the things that God has already pieced together. Until then, you realize it actually happened. This was just coming in, and here this was coming in, but it actually happened. So our now has to change. Our definition of now has to change. I like your son's is the then, but our definition and perspective of now has to change. But that does not change the now.
I feel personally for me, like I am in a phase in my life wherein I feel like when I look at people around me, I feel like faith is a formula and not a lifestyle. And I find
Say that
myself
again. Faith is
a formula
a formula.
now
Okay.
instead of it being a lifestyle. And
Okay.
I'm only speaking based on my personal experience. I had to write it down.
Okay.
I am in a season where I have learned that faith for me is a lifestyle. It has to be applied on a daily basis. I have to be
Mm-hmm.
I have to be in total surrender.
Mm.
And as I am waiting in this faith, waiting for things, as I am becoming, my mindset has changed. I have gone from, God, when are you going to answer me? God, you said this, this, this. My question now is, what are you trying to teach me whilst I'm waiting for what I believe is going to happen. So that's how I look at it now.
And that is still now in
Yeah.
context of a time frame. That actually is still now. But we have evolved, as we all said at the beginning, things are moving fast,
Mm-hmm.
right? Even
Mm-hmm.
then, let's say World War I or even World War II.
Okay.
Back then, how did they communicate? They didn't have WhatsApp to send a message, right? And you get it now, right? They had to send telegrams, write a letter. So when that person read that letter, for them, that was a now, even though it took a while.
So you already got it.
You
It's
already
you're
got it
catching up.
because it left. It was
Mm-hmm.
mailed to the Amazon. They If you track, it says it's left the warehouse. It's not at your door, but it's
Mm-hmm.
left the warehouse. That's a now.
So in if we bring it back to life and our definition of faith as a lifestyle, living in the now, in the present, is not necessarily waiting for God to do the thing, is us catching up with God's now or God's then, which is our now,
Which is a now.
You know.
But God's then still is remains a now.
because we haven't caught up with it yet.
We haven't just caught up with it yet. And how do we translate that to the generation now so that they are able to understand this? How do we explain it to them? Because at the end of the day, we've all given our opinions, right? How
Mm-hmm.
we feel, how we deal with things. But I
Yeah.
think we also have to start looking at um, those behind us that are coming. In fact, what about the 3-year-olds? Not even the 20-year-olds now. The 3-year-olds. The 20-year-old, there's one or two things that they still kind of grasp. I'm not saying they don't, but how do you explain that in the world that we live in now?
Maybe we should start trying to explain it to the 50-year-olds and 40-year-olds, like up. Because
Or how do you
no,
demonstrate? You
but
don't
you
know
know,
how to
like some of
explain.
the things that we stress ourselves out, like the package is not here when they said it was supposed to be here. Our kids see it. So how do
It's
you
coming.
tell them, right? No, wait for the thing to cool down. Or no, wait, you don't have to get that game right away. Or wait, no, you have to actually put in the work for you to get the grade, right? Because we are not even showing that in many places in our lives,
Do you
right?
have to put in the work to get the grade, or can Chat GPT? I saw a video where the I don't know if any of you saw it. The graduate at graduation,
Mm-hmm.
the three friends, one said, "Oh, I'm so happy, graduated. I thank blah blah blah." The other one came, thanked. Then this last one came and says, "I thank Chat GPT for making me graduate." Did he put the work in?
No, I did not.
Well, in
He put in
Mm-mm.
this
the question, yeah. So he puts in some work.
in this generation or in this day and age,
Yeah, because it's not just the younger ones.
it's just not the younger ones. In
Not
this
just the
day and
young.
age, I will be on that side of that other person that says I thank Chat GPT because he used ChatGPT well for him to even know the question to ask for him to graduate. So there are many people that put things in ChatGPT and don't know, like when they talk, you know that you didn't say that.
When there's someone I call Google, I'm like, You Google. Mm-mm.
Just Googled
So,
it.
so let me say, I know we all can't use ChatGPT for everything, but it's like those years back that they said we can use the computer. So I have a 50-50 with ChatGPT because I used it
There-
too.
there- there's no problem. I feel like there's no problem using whatever
Yeah.
device, whatever app is out there to help you. My
Mm-hmm.
issue is, yes, you can use the app. I mean, but when it comes to, like, I've had the question, right? For example, nurses, right? You
Mm-hmm.
see nurses do certain things, you're like, who wrote the exam for you, right? So you can use whatever is there, but are you able
Mm-hmm.
to apply the knowledge? That's where the
Well,
problem is,
that's
right?
the problem. And so it will always catch up with you somehow. So that I think that's where it starts again with that desire to learn, not just to show that you actually can we all can do the thing, right? But when it comes to tapping into that, your expertise, the thing that you learn, the thing that you really know, the empathy, the purpose, where is this thing leading me to, right? That instant thing. Because sometimes, really, we look at our parents and the things that they did. Sometimes it's just their experience that is actually the grounding for us. We probably didn't have chat gpt at that time, right? But some of the things, like, I know my son asked me one time, like, Mom, how do you see all these things? Like when our parents used to say I have eyes at the back of my head. I just know you're doing the thing. I can hear you. Like one day I tried to explain it to him, like, you quiet. There should be some noise when you're writing and it's quiet. So I know you're not writing. You're supposed to be doing your work typing, right? If the keys are not moving, you're watching something. So I know you're not typing. You're not doing your homework. It's like, oh, it's like I can go ask ChatGPT for that if ChatGPT would not tell me that, right?
Mhm.
So there's some things that you have to go through the crucibles of experiencing it, and you can speak out of that. And that what makes, even if you're looking to get that instant rush, that instant thing, but your experience, growth, life of itself, it's one of those things that you can never trade.
Mhm.
So we then have to be able to uh try and, well, I don't know if relate is the word, but we can't stay in one bubble or in our own bubble and just talk about these things, but actually demonstrate it where it's someone might see it and be able to say, oh yeah, that there's wisdom in that, or oh, that's the experience, oh, I get it. Because if you start explaining,
Goes over the head, yeah.
yeah, and not necessarily because they don't want to listen, not necessarily because they don't, it's not that they don't get it, but there's the things that they don't need to get
Mm.
because their now was already done. It's there. It's They don't need to get it.
You don't need to go
Why do
through
they have to think
the
about it?
crucibles.
Yeah.
So I think it comes back to us in, as much as we can help the next person, um know that your being did not change because you didn't get that thing right now. It doesn't change who you are. I feel like it all comes back to knowing your values, knowing your worth, knowing who you are and who you are becoming and who God says you really are. It comes back to that core of your values. Then you don't crave for you to have that thing because everybody has it. You don't crave to have um that car because everybody has it. You do the thing. You can even ask the questions from the people that have it and say, how did you do it? And they'll let you know that things were put in place for me to be the person that I. Everybody has a story of where. If somebody can't give you a story of how they got something wrong,
True.
if
It
they
comes,
can't
yeah,
tell you how hard their marriage was, run. If everything is all, well, I can't
Band-Aid.
even say roses. If everything is all, is just plush and whatever, run. They have a story, even if it looks plush, right? They had
the
some
flushing,
stools that
flushing.
they have some stools that they sat on. Maybe go sit on that stool and see if it's comfortable for you. It might not be.
Might not be comfortable.
They might have shorter feet or longer feet, and so they were able to sit there. But you might
In my
probably
what?
have shorter feet, so they sat there comfortably, whereas your feet are a little tall, so you might have to bend them. I don't know. I don't know where that one
Wow.
came from.
Okay.
Or
Your
you
back
might
might.
sit you might sit on that stool and you can't get up because your knees are not great, right? So,
Exactly. So, like I said, at least go sit on the stool.
right.
Yeah, I agree. I agree with what you're saying. I think it's also purpose, right? We've talked about it. Because if there is a purpose to something, then that purpose will have a value, and that value will create values,
Hmm.
and that those values will then create goals, will create what you do from time to time, will create the next thing, will create the then and the now. It all boils down to that one thing. And that one thing is the purpose. And no matter what changes in between, right? It boils down to that one thing. But I still don't know how you relate that to some.
But we cannot. Some people have to learn. I think they're different learning style and for a
Yeah.
purpose. Some people have
Yeah.
to learn going through the fire. Some people have to learn going through the flames. Some people have to learn going through the ashes. Some people have to learn
Mhm.
going through the smoke. So there are different ways that we all can learn life's lessons and growth pains. That is how I've seen it. But I
But we
want us
don't
to,
show that.
huh?
We don't show that. The church doesn't show that you might have to go through the fire, or some people will have to go through. It's like, oh yeah, you have a purpose, God gives you the purpose, and then you're like, what's the purpose? I don't know. How come you know your purpose? Or do you know your purpose? That's the one thing. Do you even know what purpose is? Or I'm just still working my purpose out, and now some it's bad, you're looked down upon. And I'm just speaking what the younger kids are saying, and then they look down up, and not just young kids. Actually, you'll be surprised when you sit and have conversations with an 80-year-old who's been going to church for 40 years, but no one really listened, and so they're just churching it.
And that is what I call church language, which only breeds disappointment. We're
Yeah.
not really, we're not getting to know the word. We're not. We're just like, I mean, if I fast and I give my tithes, God is going to bless me tomorrow. It's church language. Where is the relationship with God? Where's the intimacy with God? That's the problem. And then it breeds disappointment.
So,
Or if they have a question and then they shut it down, they shut you down. You have a question, you're like, yeah, but I don't think, really, is that what the Bible says? This is what I think the Bible says. But then if you say what the Bible says, and then you're like, I'm not sure that applies, boom, that's the end of that conversation.
And I
It's shut
feel
down.
like, and that's the problem with churches of today. I feel like you can read a Bible passage. We can all read the same Bible passage. You will get a meaning from it. Your meaning is going to be different from Fumi. My meaning from that same passage is going to be different from both of you. So there is no right way. There has to be, like, you can't shut people down. But I just feel like the perception is I am the leader, you are the congregation, I know the Bible better than you. And I go back to saying this, our personal relationship and intimacy with God is super, super important, or else you're just going to run for anything that they tell you. God said, I created you in my image and likeness. What does that tell you? I have the same power that you have as my leader. Read your Bible.
We don't talk about the relationship. We talk about the miracles
Oh, yeah.
and the
God is
blessings.
good. God is
God
good
is
all the
good
time.
all the time. Sister, how you doing? Oh, God is so
He's so
good all
good.
the time. And then you respond all the time.
Meanwhile, you're miserable. You are lonely and miserable and disappointed. Spiritual exhaustion has kicked in at that point in time. You know what I'm saying? So some people don't want to pray. Some people resent God, but we need to do better. I tell people
We really need to do better.
we need to do better. Your relationship with God has to be personal. There's nothing wrong with going to church. There's nothing wrong with listening to someone, but outside of that, you have to have a personal relationship with God.
Hmm.
That's
I was
very
just
good, though.
telling my husband the other day, since we're on this instant gratification thing, not even the church, not even just the church and the churchies, but I'm like, I'm not phased by what I see these days because the amount of patients I've seen now in all works of life, I'm like, from the outside, everyone looks like they got it together. They have this much money, they have so much PhDs. I'm like, even families come and they come together, and it's like, whoa, it's such a perfect, oh, they're so cute. And then they've finished their family appointment, they left, and then your door opens because you're typing, and then one of the family member pops in, or the wife or the husband. Actually, sometimes, most times, it's the husband pops in. Oh, excuse me, can I just ask you a quick question? I just want, and then they just start pouring tears and pouring things that you're like, oh,
Now you become a social worker.
now you become a social worker. But I'm just saying that everyone is just walking around with this face that looks so perfect, or with a life that looks so perfect, or with everything, whether it's your business. Oh yeah, it's going so good, the business is going so good. And you ask someone, so if this is happening, what can I do? Oh, no, 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 for me it works perfect all the time. Or if it's a marriage, like, because of all this instant gratification things that we put out, no one's trying to be who they're supposed to be. No one's trying to be who they are in that moment. Sorry,
Mm-hmm.
for the past week, that's what's been happening. And I'm like, why isn't anyone wanting to be just who they are in that moment? It's
No.
okay. It
Mm-mm.
really is, but we're not making it that it's okay. Whether it's a church, it's not just church, it's everywhere. It's every societal culture thingy.
Mm-hmm.
So, looking ahead, the future. I think we've dabbled into it, but I want to round up our conversation. Um, so considering the 8 minute lifespan that most conversations
I'm
have,
gonna get my charger. Continue.
the 8 minute lifespan that most of our conversations have, and how we think we've said a lot about instant gratification and our view of gratification and how patience will shape the future, right?
Mm-hmm.
What should we be mindful of as we prepare for what's next? What is it that even in our everyday profession, our everyday life, our our relationships, um, what is it that we should be mindful of? Is the need for instant gratification still in our peace, our relationships, maybe even our purpose? Like, what is it that we really should be mindful of that somebody can walk out of here and say, hmm, I I get it, in your opinion?
I think we have to slow down to rise up.
Mm-hmm.
Don't chase. Go. This is slow and steady wins the race.
Hmm.
It also says delay is, do not confuse delay
Mm-hmm.
as being denial, right? Like, have a goal, have a vision. Know that it's not going to be a smooth ride all the time. It's going to get bumpy. Also, stay rooted in God. Have your personal relationship. Don't use God as an accessory. Let God be your
Hmm.
anchor. God should be your anchor, not an accessory.
That is
And I
good.
think, yeah, and I think lastly for me is your dream still lives. You're still standing. You're not behind. You
Mm,
becoming. You becoming. Just know that.
yeah,
Yeah.
that is beautiful. I don't think I have anything to say after that.
Denial really is a denial. At that time, denial actually isn't denial. Denial actually is what it should be
Mm,
in God's eyes.
mm.
It might be saving you from a whole lot of trouble.
Mm-hmm.
Like somebody said, we always go to God, like, God, why aren't you answering my prayer? Like, silence is the answer. No is an answer.
No,
Yes is an answer.
as Bimpe says, the noise. Stay away from the noise. For us, noise sometimes is it has to there has to be a noise, there has to be a sound for it to be equated to a response
Yeah.
or an answer.
Yeah. But I really, like I said, I'd been looking forward to this conversation and I enjoyed every bit of it. I feel like we can go on and on and on because look at us. We started talking about, is this thing in instant gratification even a thing, right? If it's a thing, how bad it is or how good it is. Um, there is good part of gratification. Like what Bimpe had as a gratification, and there
Mm-hmm.
is the part that is not as good because we want it now, and we really do have it. We just becoming that person that can actually hold on to that now that God has designed for us. And in becoming that person, we get to go through the growth pain and life in general to be that person. And I truly enjoyed this conversation, and I hope our listeners are able to ask themselves that question and be authentic in answering themselves that question. So, where do I need to slow down, and where do I need to take a pause or be okay with the person that I am now, knowing that God's now or my now is already God's then? There. He's already done it. But before we leave, I know Bimpe is the businesswoman and entrepreneur, and we always like to elevate our guests by letting our listeners know where they can find them, how they can support them, and how they can allow our guests to serve them in what they're already doing. So, Dimple, let us know a little bit about what you're doing and where our listeners can find you and how you will be able to serve them and elevate their style, their lives, and whatever you're doing.
Um, I'm gonna. Lucia has the website. I guess she'll post the website,
Yep.
Yes,
right?
yes.
So I do have a store on Etsy, and it's called Deline Couture, and we do African dresses. It's an Afro-fusion thing, and you can click on the website and put in your order. We ship all over the world. I also do have a nursing agency partnered with a friend of mine, and we do home care. We go into homes, we go into hospitals. If you need nurses, if you need personal support workers, call me. The
And we'll
website.
have that link as well.
Yeah.
We'll have that
Um,
link as well.
Thank you, Bimpe, for allowing us to have this conversation. And
Mhm.
thank you for sharing your wisdom and with our listeners. And even I've learned a lot for today.